The UML Hockey Riverhawks are on the road this weekend. Just one game, Friday night at the Gutterston Fieldhouse in Burlington, Vermont. The Riverhawks take on the University of Vermont. Joining us, Riverhawk head coach Norm Bazin. Norm, it's good to get back to Hockey East action.
It certainly is. The rest of the way is Hockey East, so we're excited about the rest of the season.
I know Vermont certainly doesn't have the record that they would like to have. They've struggled a bit, at least in wins and losses. But I've got to imagine that this is another team you can't take lightly. We know there's talent there, we know there's good coaching, and we know that building's not the easiest to play in.
No, all good points. I think no team in this league you can take lightly, and Vermont certainly had their share of great performances this year. Haven't put up the consistency they're looking for, but also they are a good team, very skilled team.
We are now a couple of weeks removed from the break in that we played in the Yukon tournament, did have a game, though an exhibition game, against a touring Russian team. You feel as though this team's back into midseason form, the rust has been shaken off. Are they playing the hockey that you want them playing at this point?
Well, I'll tell you after the game. However, for now, I think we're still getting there. I don't think we're back where we were when we left for the break. However, it'll take some time. It usually takes 4 or 5 games before the guys are back in that timing mode.
Certainly we'll see when the team takes the ice Friday night at Vermont exactly who's healthy, who's not. But one thing that the break and the low number of games immediately following the break has given you is an opportunity for some people who were dinged up to heal.
No question for us. The break came at a good time, and we haven't had too many games since we've come back, and that's been a real blessing because guys have been able to heal. We only have a few guys left who are still with the injury bug. So, we'll get a few guys back, and that'll be certainly a boost to the lineup, and we'll see how they can perform.
Vermont historically has been terrific defensively. I know they have a reputation as being an outstanding team when it comes to blocking shots. We're a possession offense. Do things that they do force us to change anything we do, or is it a matter of if we do what we do well enough, what they do well isn't going to make a big difference?
Well, I'd like to think if we play our game, then we can give ourselves the best opportunity for success. So we're going to concentrate on ourselves again and just try to execute what we do. Playing in an opposing arena, then being able to match lines and get last change is always a concern and a challenge, but it's part of playing on the road.
This second half of the year, from this point on, it's all Hockey East. I guess there's no game that isn't, in effect, a big game the rest of the way.
Well, that's right. It's especially having to play Vermont 3 times in the next basically 21 days. That's something that you want to set the tempo and give them an idea of what they're headed for. So we'll get to know our opponent here and get to prepare for basically 3 games in those 21 days against a hungry opponent. So it'll be exciting.
One of the things, and I know I mentioned it during the first half at times, I'll mention it again now because it seems in the early going here in the second half to be the same thing. We don't have anybody that's lighting it up from a standpoint of leading the league in goals or assists or points. But what this team does have is a very large number of contributors. We seem to get scoring from all lines, all defense pairs.
No, we have, and that's a nice thing. We don't have to depend on every single person. It's been the contributions by committee, and I think there's a whole stack of guys you can put a blanket on that could contribute on any given night. And that's a mark of a good team when you've got several guys that can contribute on any given night. So we hope to keep that going here in the second half.
In preparing for Vermont, I know a name that jumps out at people because, well, he's the second Stahlberg to play at Vermont, Sebastian Stahlberg. Do individuals, when you prepare for a team, whether it's Vermont or anybody else, do individuals concern a coaching staff, or is it not about specific people?
Well, you have to make him known to your team because he does lead their team in points. He has more points than any kid on our team, so he's very dangerous. He's skilled. We'll try to finish our checks on him, but in the end, when you talk about special teams, you just have to be aware who has a tendency to shoot more often than not, and he's certainly one of those people.
I guess finally, anything that Friday night at the Gut comes down to?
Well, we haven't broken that down yet. However, we'd like to play low-style hockey. We'd like to certainly score first would be a nice start to the contest, playing in a tough road game. And lastly, we'd like to be good on special teams, because if I'm not mistaken, they're bordering on 30% their last 5 games on the power play, so we have to do a very good job on the penalty kill.
All right, Norm, I thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And again, the Riverhawks, Friday night at the Gutterson Fieldhouse in Burlington, Vermont, take on the University of Vermont.